what's the role of women in the church? What's your personal opinion?
Well, I think within the Church of England, which I represent, we're probably playing catch-up. I've been a priest now for between 35 and 40 years. And we've only had women priests in the Church of England now for about 20 years. And in fact, we have a big celebration for that in St. Paul's Cathedral in May. So I think we're playing catch-up. And although women have been priests, they have not been able to be bishops. Now, we think that we are getting there on that. And a number of us are really hopeful that perhaps by the end of this year, certainly into next year, we may well have bishops in the Church of England. So I think we are still very much catching up, but I like to think that we're getting there.
That's interesting to say. How the situation has changed when you started?
Well, I think it has changed because, I say, when I started, women were not allowed to be priests. So they weren't allowed to run a parish, that they couldn't run a church. They simply had to be assistants.
So basically the percentage of women involved in the church is increasing nowadays. Or do you think is it almost the same? I mean, when they were allowed to get in?
I think we're still playing catch up.
Okay.
Though, I mean, as I look at the diocese where I work, we have many very, very impressive women priests who are doing outstanding jobs in their parishes. And I think increasingly we no longer think about women priests as a special category. We simply talk about priests, about vicars, about priests who are running churches. And frankly, whether they're men or women is increasingly not something we think about because they're now just part of the landscape. That's not, as I say, quite true about bishops yet, but I think that's coming and probably coming quite soon.
I think is it really difficult for a woman to start a career nowadays?
Well, I think you probably have to talk to the women rather than me.
We have never experienced people like blaming men in the church about not being able to do whatever they want in their life. I mean, it never happened, I mean, in your position to try to help and give help to women who cannot start a career they don't feel like hurt to anyone and they probably ask help to the church?
I mean, I suppose one of the ways that we would try to help in some communities is, I think, helping people, including women, to realize that they can do things. I mean, historically, yes, I think women felt that they couldn't do important things. I mean, I do a lot of work with people who want to become vicars. And I meet a lot of women who think I could probably be a part-time vicar but not do it full-time. And then they start training and they suddenly get a sense of, yes, I really could do this full-time. I am more capable than I originally thought I was. And for me, that's always very, very exciting when people, women, men, discover that they're capable of doing more than they originally thought they could. That always seems to be very good news.
It's more a matter of confidence, basically.
Yes, and what we have to do in society, in education, and what we have to do in the church, certainly, is to build the confidence of people who feel they don't have much confidence.
Do you think if women could find this confidence and actually reach the same the equality between the women and men, what kind of impact will there be in society? What kind of change?
Again, in some ways, I think you need to talk to women about that because I think there is a sense that women do things differently and they lead differently and they have different priorities. And therefore, I think the more that women are involved in leadership, then I think society will change. It was very interesting that my wife used to work for an organization that was made up entirely of women. It was a group of very highly professional health educators. And because this was an organization run by women, comprising entirely of women, they were very, very flexible about the way people worked. They were very flexible about childcare. They were very flexible if people needed time off to look after relatives. They were very, very flexible when my wife moved up here 200 miles away. And I wonder whether that organisation would have been as flexible if it had been run by men and staffed entirely by men. So I think, in a way, you need to talk to women perhaps more, but I think there is a sense that women do things differently, and we will be better off when women are in more positions of authority.